I'm excited for this series here. We have the NAST champions in Polar Cortex. All eyes are going to be on A, in my opinion. There's been a lot of chatter about this guy throughout this season, and everyone's kind of excited to see how he does next season. But we're just hopping right into game here. Super interesting drafts. We've got an Octavia for Striker Kai for Rose Petals. And then the rune on the other side to try and, banish her during flow state. It's a little bit of a counter pick. So, yeah, I think it's anyone's game for this game here, Gordo.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting matchup here, and an elimination game, of course, as well, as we find ourselves here in the lower bracket. A little bit of roster mania coming on through beforehand on the Rose Petals side, but they've settled on this squad with Striker Kai and Luke, and so far, been doing a pretty solid job for themselves, making such a deep run thus far. Now let's see what they're going to be able to do here up against Polar Cortex. So far going to be one barrier taken apiece. Some aggression coming in at the bottom side here from Name Chaotic, dashing forward, taking the second barrier. Striker Kai clearing out a little bit of space here, trying to make sure that Chaotic's not going to be able to finish off the job, and will be able to clear them back on out and buy them a little bit of time. Nice dodge there on what would have been in snare drums from the Fool, and going to deny that from having any impact for the next couple of moments. A KO ending up coming on through there, going to get that power play on over towards the red side, and we'll see if they're going to be able to turn that into anything. And there they go, Rose coming up with the first goal.
Yeah, that was really well played by Striker Kai and Twisty. I know that the two of them have, I think they've kind of committed to each other for next season, if I'm not mistaken, or at least they want to play with each other, and they've been playing together a lot in solo queues. So I wouldn't be too surprised if, even though Striker Kai is technically a sub today, that they still have really affinity in the double Sad Boys for the side of Rose there. Crazy play, and Striker Kai goes down. Really well timed by Name Chaotic. Yeah, for this game, I think it's going to be just a tale of, can we kill the Octavia, and can we kind of rotate the ball well around her. Last point, I think Polar Cortex actually did a really good job until that power play of moving the ball around the map, play around the Octavia, but then, of course, once the power play came, it kind of fell apart. And, we're just going to kind of be looking to see if they can keep that going, as open barriers on both sides now, and plays in the midfield for Twisty and Striker Kai. Nice banish to stop any plays for Twisty. And yeah, Gordo, we're mainly just going to be looking for how well they can play around this Octavia before she gets anything too good in draft later in the game.
Ooh, big KO found there over on the left side. A now going aggressive alongside Name Chaotic. Striker Kai still up and standing. It is going to be about keeping this Octavia alive and scaling for quite a bit of this game. Chaotic going in for a big rush there, trying to catch the core and take it into the goal. Not quite going to be able to find it, and now both sides back at full strength. Name Chaotic looking for a slashing strike into the goal. Doesn't quite find it. Kai going to be able to fend that one away, but A keeping the aggression up here, throwing down some of those anomalies to try to catch out the core. Try to push it just a little bit further. Luke holding it down on the Atlas, though, quite nicely. Chaotic with another shot deflected back away by Luke, and slashing strike back and available. Might mean this is the scoring chance, but the defense holds strong here for Rose, but no longer. Name Chaotic steps up and pokes it right in.
Yeah, the stacks on stacks is kind of becoming a big problem for Rose Petals already. I think Stack and Stacks is a super interesting start based on these character picks. For example, Octavia is probably going to be dying a good amount, or at least being focused down, so she's liable to lose her stacks, which is a big advantage for the other team. But at the same time, Rune is a character that doesn't do the best job of stacking stacks and stacks. So we might see sets this game where we're on point 2, 3, or 4, where the Rune's still not fully stacked just because it can take him that long. So there are some really clear-cut weaknesses for those for that starting Awakening here, but at the same time, if it does get stacking like it has so far this game, Name Chaotic and A, especially with the Mako speed backing them up, can just kind of run circles around Twisty and especially Luke on this like slightly slower Atlas in the back. So like we saw last point, Name Chaotic was able to just keep possession forever because he was so fast. And that's kind of going to be the name of the game for this scoring for Polar, is they're going to have to be able to essentially shut down the Octavia as much as possible, and then use the speed advantage that they're generating to just keep possession of the ball long enough to finally score.
Definitely here, and of course, in any stack start, the KO is going to be extra impactful, going to really set you behind while you try to get those back up. A double banish, nicely placed by A, showing why some folks are already getting excited for next season. And there's the KO found, a really strong power play for POLR as they look to try to push it the rest of the way through. Pool already coming out to midfield to come and try to support the offense, but gets it past them, gonna give up that barrier, and they're not going to be able to close it out now. The respawn is here, as is overtime, and it's anyone's point from here to be able to take the lead early on in this game. Number one, Twisty stepping up towards the top. Cry throwing on down that beat drop, trying to get onto it, but not going to be able to find it there. Another banish buys a little bit of space. Chaotic not going to be able to pick it on up with the rush, and sneaks on by, but Fool going to be able to deflect it yet again. Luke gets it back into Kai's hands. Chaotic back down to A, setting up the passing plays and seeing if they can find themselves a route on in, but it's just been more and more difficult. Twisty with that flip available might be the difference maker, but needs to be able to get in range. Does do it and pushes it through, deflected off the wall, and a point over to Rose.
Yeah, great hook by Twisty there. Flip, walk up, hook Fool, and then hit the core immediately after during the hit stun. Really, really well played. A, I could say this because I'm A's friend. A turbo griefed that point. He hit a pillar that I would hit, and that's not a compliment. And huge double ban into double KO from Name Chaotic. Crazy power play here. I wouldn't be surprised if Luke is able to hold, but the idea is during this power play to just burn as many of his resources as possible. Oh, great strike by A to get the checkmate into the corner. Yeah, really, really well played. In that power play, you're going to want to be looking to swing the ball like that out of the corner. When you play on two faces like that, it's too much for these melee goalies to handle, and now we're going to be looking at A's flip to try and put it in the net. Oh, there it goes. A little bit of a panic flip, but still just huge advantage still going for POLR here. I think we'll be going to a 0.5, but nevertheless, we've got a little bit of an offense going for Striker Kai, and every second that passes is another second back on that flow state ability. There's always, we want to be looking for when that ability comes back up. Another big flip, misstrike by A, and we're in overtime now, which is a really big benefit for this rune as midfielders are not getting it done today, Gordo. Midfielders are not getting it done.
Yeah, it's a little tough there when you end up missing out on the core, but we are going to the full 5 points as you called out, so let's see who's going to be able to take the first set and get that crucial first pick. A double banish from A again, multiple times so far in this first round, finding themselves with the multiple target banishes, and it really just buys you so much space to be able to play with. A double barrier comes on through. Chaotic going to be able to keep pushing it up and make sure that the goal is open. A striking opportunity into the Oni's blade. One more try. Chaotic not letting it through, but we'll be able to hold on for now, pushing it back on up. Twisty not going to be able to grab it, and there it goes. 3-2 in the first set, going on over towards the side of POLR.
Yeah, that's a really big set win. You never want to lose an early set versus Octavia, because then you always risk running into the cast to last in draft. But A, hovering this among Titans, maybe. Oh, okay, finally sees the cast to last. Got me there for a second. So this Octavia will not be getting what is arguably her best awakening this game. The Among Titans goes over to Luke. I know he's a big fan of that awakening. The glass cannon for the Octavia, so the side of Rose is now going to be a lot faster. And then the Might of the Colossus going for the Rasmus, also just that incremental size buff is always super valuable. And I think that was a pretty good draft for Rose Petals, but it's not like Castellas is a bad awakening on Rune or anything, so pretty neutral overall, but I think both teams are pretty happy with what they got.
Absolutely, and now back on towards the defense. Kai doing a good job of being able to fend that one away. A nice death touch from Twisty takes them up off the top and will be able to create another power play here for Rose. Can they push it the rest of the way through, though, before the respawns end up coming on through? Chaotic is back. Rose Petals still with one barrier left to work their way through. Kai going to be able to do so. Twisty, she comes in, goes in for the pendulum swing. Can't quite find it there, and Fool will be able to fend it back away. Another banish. A good dodge from Kai, though, using the elusive. And Twisty can push it the rest of the way through. The Rose Petals close out the point.
Yeah, everyone kind of missed their strikes in the quarter there. Everyone lost their mind. But really well played by Twisty to come in there and be the last one to strike. And so, yeah, that's kind of... I think we saw that point a little bit, what I was saying. It's just a little bit harder to kill this Octavia now, and every percentage point more difficult that it gets to kill her, and every percentage point faster that she gets, just the more problematic she becomes and the harder it is to shut her down. So, you know, we're just going to want to keep our eyes on this Octavia as the game scales out to see how effectively POLR can continue to shut her down.
Chaotic with a KO over there, going to be able to create a power play for his side. Let's see how far POLR Coretex is going to be able to take that. A now holding back on the bottom side, trying to pick on up some of those passes. Kai back onto the field, trying to see if they could push things back over to Rose. Luke clearing things out with that astral projection. Twisty stuck inside the ensnare drums, nearly KO'd by A for it, but will be able to hang on. Doesn't even need to use that energy burst. Nerves of Steel there from Twisty. Now going to advance forward, looking for this extra barrier on the top side. Another Anomaly going to be able to fend things away. Banish, though, lasted a long time after that last Awakening draft, and Kai nearly going to be taken out for it. Now A and Chaotic back on the offense, looking to push it into the goal. A passes it down. Chaotic shoots it up. Another attempt, a flip forced out of Luke, and he will be able to hang on for now, trying to clear it back out, but they are not out of the woods yet, as it's another Oni's Blade and another slashing strike, trying to put it in, but hung on to yet again. Twisty trying to get it into their hands to be able to take it back on up towards the top side. Energy Burst still available on that Rasmus, but banished away alongside the core. Going to take a boatload of damage here, but does manage to actually evade the slice and dice out of the side of Zentaro. Named Chaotic now set up for another attempt. The flip available here. Twisty taking it up towards the top, flips it in. Pendulum swing on towards the barrier. Goal opened up. Twisty pushing for more, but it will be fended back away, and now it's Luke getting it back into the hands of his squad.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty unfortunate bounce for Named Chaotic there. Just barely misses the flip. I think that would have been a guaranteed goal if they were able to find that, but now we just see the speed is so overwhelming. A was pretty much out of position there, but oh, great flip.
Nice.
Finds it in, and yeah, it's just able to maneuver around the map so much. There's nowhere safe for Twisty or Striker Kai to shoot the ball in the open net. They really need to find the situations like they found at the first point, where there's a lot of chaos in the corner if they want to be able to get it through the Fool on Mako.
Definitely, and already all-out aggression coming through from POLR Vortex as they take themselves the first of the barriers, blowing up the center, trying to push it through again, and Twisty going to be able to heal back up thanks to Luke for just a little while to avoid going on down. Does take a barrier for it as well, and they're going to keep that aggression going. Fended away by Named Chaotic. A good block from Luke. Keeps it on towards the aggressive side of the map. Banish, though, finds its way onto Twisty yet again, but it does not stop the offense one bit. Striker Guy comes through, finds the second barrier. Twisty still standing. Anomalies down, and a shot at the goal available once again for the Rose Petals as they look to take themselves a lead in the second set. Twisty with a shooting angle. Doesn't quite take it on through. Beat Drop going to fend them away, but won't be enough to get any KOs. Won't deal any significant lasting damage. And it does mean that POLR Coretex still have an opportunity to fight back. Pendulum swing out of Twisty, though, finds a KO for her, and she can push for another attempt. Kai passes it up, doesn't even need to land on a Twisty, try to grab it back with the Death Touch, but it's destined for the goal. It's getting in there for the Rose Petals.
Yeah, that's a disaster for the side of POLR Coretex, because like I said earlier, this rune is going to have difficulty stacking these stacks on stacks, so any death, especially late in the set, could be a death sentence for them, just because it's going to be so long before this rune can get back online. You already see A just kind of slowly walking around the map, not able to maneuver as effectively as they were able to before, and I think that's a big part of the reason why we're seeing so much control for the Rose Petals early in this point.
Definitely, and ooh, a chance to be able to close out the whole set here. They just take it. Twisty push it in for another one and gets on in there. 3-1 on set number 2, 1-1. Keeping this game close so far, and the first pick going to go over to Twisty here.
Yeah, now we head into the draft. This Octavia is getting aerials if they want it. They might also get the twin drive. It's kind of scary. Rune doesn't have the greatest options. You know, Siege Machine, Deadeye, and Spark are all pretty interesting. Opposite of the Siege Machine, the Twin Drive does go to the Octavia, which I think is a pretty big deal. That being said, the Dash Awakening for the Mako is just going to make the Centauro and Rune even faster out there on offense, so that's going to be really threatening for Luke. And Luke doesn't really get much defensive utility in this draft to help back up the increased offensive pressure from the side of Polar Cortex after the draft. So aside from that Twin Drive pickup, I think Polar are really, really happy with how that draft went. We're just going to have to see how they execute.
Yeah, that creation duration on the Rune Pillars, always so important to be able to craft yourself some winning scenarios on experienced Rune players. Have to see if A's going to be able to make those happen, but another good combo out of Twisty and Kai. Kai takes the barrier on the bottom, gets it over to Twisty, a pendulum swing, finds the top one, and it's an open goal already for the Rose Petals yet again, and Twisty on a breakaway with the whiplash. Can't quite push it through, and it will be fended back away. Named Chaotic going to receive it on the opposite side. A coming in towards midfield to try to help out. A double banish found by A again. The timing just barely off from Named Chaotic. That could have been a KO there. Instead, they're going to keep that brawl going for a little bit longer. Nearly taken down, goes elusive to stay standing, and will be able to survive, but a nice fight back there from the Rose Petals after a bad situation from that banish. Now looking to take it all the way for the point. Twisty, another shot on goal, passes it down. Luke coming in with the assistance from the strike shot, bouncing between anomalies, but Kai trying to disrupt, will be able to get it just a little bit there. Astral projection to help on out. A banish lands onto the Octavia yet again, gonna get KO'd by the anomaly for that. A power play available for Polar Cortex, but they can't defend the goal. Fool knocks it down, but still finds its way into the net.
Yeah, I mean, really, really sad to lose the point there, but I do want to point out that was a really, really good point for A. So that like silly double pillar shenanigans that were going on in the bottom corner, really, really nice for the Rune with stacks on stacks, because each of those hits gives him a lot of stacks. You can see he's already fully stacked, and he's one of the 2 people in the lobby to do so right now. Or I think the only one in the lobby that's already fully stacked. And you can attribute that to like the core bouncing between those 2 pillars. It's the one situation where Rune gets really, really good with this Awakening because he can stack so quickly. And he also got the KO, so that was really, really nice. But unfortunately, the ball slips right by him with the flip Twisty, and the goal goes in. And for this point, a lot of chaos going on, but the Rune speed definitely a big help.
Absolutely need to have that mobility to be able to get in there and find the striking angles, but KO'd! There go all those stacks! Twisty finds a pendulum swing. Chaotic gets some revenge on the opposite side. It's a 2-on-2 on the field. Chaotic taking the second of the barriers, and will have an open goal. Nearly KO'd by Twisty, though. Don't want to lose that full energy burst. Oh my goodness, jumping all over the map here. There's another flip. There's an attempted strike. Can't get it in there with the slice and dice, but another attempt going to be generated by the Fool. Twisty gets another KO. That's going to be 4 on the streak for her, as she looks to be able to move back on over towards the aggressive side. Kai coming in the bottom side for assistance. A disrupting their passing, though, and going to be able to push it in towards the goal, potentially. Twisty still with the energy burst available. A takes another shot. Can't quite get it past Luke. Luke set aside by Named Chaotic, but will still stay strong. Another double banish found by A. They try to chain that into the ensnare drums, but they do not connect, and it will still be held on to by both sides for now, brawling in midfield.
Yeah, the missed KO is really, really nice. A can keep those stacks going a little bit, but you know, all that being said, I think Luke has done an exceptional job at this point, holding it down in the open net, using that among Titan speed. Has had to go for some pretty aggressive reads to not let the ball go through, but finally drops the flip as the barrier drops on the other side of the map. So we're in a double open net situation. It's kind of anyone's game. I think both teams are pretty good at scoring in the open net. The Rasmus is really good at it, and Centauro is really good at it. So we're going to look to see if Named Chaotic can put it in with the flip.
Ooh, another nice banish onto Kai and Luke this time. They had a good angle to shoot, but they didn't quite have the core. Nice juke out by Named Chaotic. Goes down with the slashing strike, baits out the astral projection, flips and shoots it up. That's going to be 1-1.
Yeah, Luke there, really, really difficult situation. Named Chaotic essentially just checkmated him. Needed to react to where Luke walked after the primary, and Luke took the step down, so Named Chaotic sends it to the corner. Had the correct punish there, and you know, as I'm saying all this, A finally gets those stacks and stacks back, and it's not too late in the set, so I think we're going to see if the Polar Cortex can hold here. We'll see this speed become pretty overwhelming as this point progresses.
Yeah, definitely going to be a lot of that built on up here. Going to be Kai now without energy and without the speed, and it's stuck up in that top corner. A gets it on down to Chaotic. They're going to start passing it back and forth to try to open up an angle to get past Luke onto this bottom barrier, but it's so difficult to push in past Atlas when there's just that one circle, and he can keep on using the expanse to clear it out. Twisty, meanwhile, has been able to find one up on the top side. That's an open goal for the side of the Rose Petals, and a chance to be able to take it through. Twisty right in front of an anomaly will be able to retain a little bit of control, but doesn't have the ability to get it back over to Kai. Kai passing it on through midfield. There's going to be Chaotic getting in the way, trying to take it back in towards the right. Twisty not quite able to take it here, and Chaotic with all of the resources, but none of the actual core to actually be able to get it on through here. Second barrier still standing here for Luke, as he's been able to withstand everything they throw at it. Chaotic going to be coming on through now, trying to take an approach from the top side. Twisty gets it back to their hands. Kai trying to get it back over towards them, but it's just too difficult to be able to push this core really anywhere in that zone. Twisty, another pendulum swing KO, another good use of the core to be able to push it on through.
Yeah, really good strike from Twisty there to kind of send it into that little space, the little wall next to the bumper. There was kind of nowhere for the Fool to hit it. He couldn't go back up because it would just bounce back down into the Raz's primary, and he couldn't go out because the Raz's primary caught it like it did there. So really well played by Twisty. I think that was a super difficult situation to navigate. And yeah, I think all things are kind of coming up Rose Petals right now as the second barrier falls, courtesy of Striker Kai's core flip. And even though we've got a nice double banish here, I don't think it's going to make any meaningful progress as Twisty is attacking in the corner, almost gets it through. And I think the main way for Polar Cortex to make a big comeback at this point is to KO Striker Kai. But after that orb take, I think that's going to be really difficult.
Yeah, definitely. Still plenty healthy. Throws down the beat drop. That's going to be Chaotic trying to evade it. Avoiding going on down, already staggered, already at such risk. Into the Oni's blade. Stuck up on the top side, though. Would have potentially been taken down by a base drop, but not quite going to be able to finish that off is Striker Kai. Luke going to be guiding it down towards the bottom there. The anomaly this time doesn't quite form. Twisty connects the death touch, but can't really send it anywhere thanks to that ensnare drums from the Fool. Fool with plenty of resources available, doing a good job of holding down the defense in the game state with both goals fully open. A coming on through, going to be able to pass that one around. A flip comes out of Luke, trying to clear out the space. Chaotic with the energy burst, no chance to use it though. Constantly staggered, nearly taken down by the death touch, and still trying to get involved. Another double banish, but again, no core to capitalize. The shot comes through from Chaotic. Kai can't touch it, and we're 2-2.
Yeah, that was so close to just being an amazing play by A if the Zentauro had set that backwards. The great double banish on the goal line. And that second barrier for Rose Petals fell because A was up in the corner, struck the ball at Luke, and then when Luke tried to go for the out clear, A was suddenly on top of him. He was just so fast with the Maka speed, with those stacks on stacks. Really paying dividends this game, and we're in a really close set here. 0.5, set 3. As someone who's kind of been in this position a lot, it can really feel like the winner of this point just kind of wins the game off of the momentum they generate from winning such an important mid-game set. So this point is going to be super duper critical, even though it isn't directly winning anybody the game. We're really going to be looking to see who can gain a big advantage. Is Octavia going to go down, or are they going to find a way around the Mako?
Oh! Snuck it past there. I think that was Striker Kai on that last strike to be able to get it right where it needs to go to take the second barrier. Twisty stepping on forward. Drum and bass can only hang on for so long. There's the beat drop out of Kai. Forces it through in the bottom. And it's 3-2 in the set, giving the lead over to the Rose Petals.
Yeah, luckily for Polar Cortex, it's not Octavia in the first pick. She's actually the last pick for her team here, and if this Rasmus doesn't take extra special, this extra special rune might be able to take over the game. I think the Rasmus has to deny it, but even then the rune's just going to get perfect form, opts out of the extra special and into the perfect form, denying the Atlas. Pretty smart pickup. Prime time for the Mako is actually a really nice deny for the Octavia, as well as just a great utility pickup. Prevents Octavia from refreshing her speed with access to an additional primary, and extra special for the Centauro. Denied the heavy impact, and that's also going to be really nice. A lot of these points have been going super long as expected, and having an extra Centauro ult late in the point to stop the ball and kind of tee it up for your midfielder or put yourself in a good position to score is going to be really, really useful. So we're going to see how useful those extra ults end up being if we ever get into these like overtime open net situations.
Yeah, and again, it's just the spillover effect of these multi-person banishes still paying off big for Polar Coretex, but they do lose another member. Twisty is now at 6 KOs without dying here and has done a great job of being able to open up these power play angles and just make all the good work that Polar Coretex is doing all for naught. Now we're tied on up in barriers once again. Twisty low on a stagger, but getting healed back up by Luke's ultimate there, and will be just fine. Thank you once again to Atlas for being able to keep everybody up and standing. Kai moving in from the top side, taking a lot of damage here, banished away, nearly going to get taken down, has to blow the energy burst to stay standing, but that could have been a big power play here for Polar Coretex if they were able to finish that one off. Still going to be able to keep Kai out of the play for the foreseeable future. There's the Oni's blade. There's the KO. Twisty, though, fighting on the bottom, takes the second barrier. But there's going to be one claim here for Chaotic, trying to wait on out. The goal opening up. Doesn't quite get that energy-infused shot off, but will have the opened up goal. Kai back out onto the field, trying to take him down with a beat drop. Banished away yet again. Potentially going to take a second KO here, but doesn't get sent straight up. Instead, a little bit off to the right. Will be able to stay standing. Twisty picks it back up with a death touch and sneaks it between two. Fool with everything up cannot save the goal.
Yeah, that was a really, really good play from Twisty. That point was going south quick if that ball got back onto Luke's half. I think he didn't have that many resources up. No flip anymore, and Centauro and A with their kits, fully up were pretty likely to score. That being said, something I neglected to mention about this extra special Centauro is also that the Centauro special is a really, really reliable kill confirm, and so this Octavia, every time they're getting staggered, is going to be pretty likely to fall just because the Centauro's got so many extra specials. But, all that being said, double barriers go down for the side of Rose as I'm doing all this yapping, and things are looking really good for Polar as they put the ball in the net. Well played to both forwards. Polar Coretex, that point, really put the team on their back, and we're heading to a 0.3.
Yeah, really nice stuff there. Going to try to stay competitive in this one, like you said, on that last point there, Grimella. It's so hard on the mental and on the morale to lose in such a close scenario in set number 3. It feels like it's a big mountain to climb back up here for Polar Coretex, but getting that point, not letting it become a streak, a big deal for them as they look to move in towards the bottom here. They take their first barrier. A with so many resources, going to take another shot, but it's fended back away by Twisty. All those size awakenings really letting the Rasmus have the influence here. Another banish does come on through. Kai very low on stagger yet again, and Chaotic stepping forward, smells blood in the water. Going to be seeing if they can finish that one off, but instead, it's Twisty again, moving pretty much solo while Chaotic and Kai are brawling on the other side. Twisty has just been carving a path through this Polar Coretex defense, taking barriers left and right, and going to go for that one again here. Already found the first, but now taken back away by A and Chaotic. Another double banish just comes up in time for Kai to save that top barrier, but tons of damage coming on through. Chaotic all over this Octavia, can't quite get the job done. Trying to take a barrier instead, but really just coming up blank, and now going to be staying standing are all the members of the Rose Petals, but they do manage to open up the barriers while they're at it. They've got an open goal. They've got a chance to be able to take the lead in this set and be one goal away from victory, but need to be able to find it, need to be able to find that one crucial shot. It gets back over to Twisty. It's fended back away by the strike shot. Luke sends it down to Kai. Twisty on the breakaway with the pendulum swing. Can't quite take it in. Another attempt with the whiplash. Another attempt with the beat drop, but everything is fended away by the Fool. A helping out with the anomalies and with their own strikes, but it finally sneaks through. Twisty finds the strike and takes the lead yet again. One goal away from a Rose Petals win in game 1.
Yeah, this built different on Twisty has been doing dividends for her. It's such a big deal. There's so many times, especially in this open net, where that little bit of extra size is just going such a long way. Uh, and I think that it's we really have a mountain to climb for Polar Cortex now. They've been struggling to get through Luke and Striker Kai in the back line. They've kind of had a defensive masterclass this set. So we're gonna be looking to see if they can overcome that, or if Rose Petals are gonna be able to close the game
Oh!
out.
Early KO found again onto the Zentaro. And a big opportunity on the power play for the Rose Petals. The Banish comes on through onto the core, perhaps more important than onto Twisty, as it just means that they have the time for Chaotic to respawn and get involved again. Going to take some time to stack back up, but Oni's Blade going to be able to work on that without too much trouble. Another attempted fend away. Luke getting involved with those strike shots, but not quite able to take it in towards the bottom to be able to take that second barrier. Named Chaotic, kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place there with Kai and an anomaly in between them, trying to get that core in towards the bottom side themselves. Pendulum Swing nearly takes out Chaotic there, but he's going to be able to stay standing.
Yeah, lots of chaos. Perfect Form Rune, I think, is kind of showing his power this set because there have just been so many anomalies, so many banishes, and the core is just moving so fast, flying everywhere. There goes another banish flying out. We're probably going to see yet another one soon if the ball bounces off these barriers. But, as I say that, Striker Kai, great punish to take the second barrier, and really, really scary open net situation for the side of Polar Cortex. We'll see if they can defend or if we can get through Luke in the corner here, but the defensive position for Rose Petals is so strong. A almost gets the ball around, but Luke so fast, able to get there in time. Finally, another banish, but the Atlas ult saves Twisty. No threat of losing her life at all here. Pillar, really, really scary, not able to make things go crazy, and now Centaro's going crazy, and everyone's going crazy, and Twisty puts it in the top net. Well played to Rose. Game 1 for them.
Very well done there by Rose Petals. They come up with the win in 4 sets time. Really nicely done to be able to combine together and find those really explosive offensive plays between Kai and Twisty, just constantly able to get it right where it needs to go, constantly able to maneuver on around that Mako and her defensive tools, and really nicely done by the squad all around. A clean victory for them in their choice of the Octavia.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is about him on this Rune character, but he farms the redirects, and he does it again this game. 453 redirects, really stands out on the stat sheet. But MVP goes to Striker Kai, I'd say very deservingly. Found a lot of very clutch second barriers to break through the stalwart Mako. Really, really valuable to get the first open net, like to take that second barrier first in these melee goalie matchups. Because melee goalies are really only able to contribute on offense if they have that second barrier up. So losing that second barrier means that your offense just becomes that much less potent. I think it's a big contributor as to why Rose Petals were able to find the win this game, and also 127 saves on Luke. Defensive masterclass from him, able to hold it down despite all the chaos and the flying core from the Rune with the core speed in overtime, and the Zentaro halting the ball and then sending it flying and all that. So, yeah, really, really well played to Rose Petals. And we're moving on to Tycho Temple, another really solid map for the Rune if A decides to opt into it. Again, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Fool on the Asher if that goes unbanned. But all that being said, really well played to Rose Petals for that game 1, and excited to see what happens on Tycho Temple in game 2.
Yeah, as am I. I'm curious here, Gravella. Do you run back the rune if you're Polar Cortex here? Because it worked out. It felt like it was super strong at certain points. We talked about how those banishes were constantly having really big impact, but it also felt like there were times where the team as a whole couldn't make the most use of them, right? We saw a lot of whiffed abilities trying to capitalize right as they were coming out of the banishes. We saw a lot of attempts to really come back on defense and help out up against what was a really productive offense coming out of Rose, and they just couldn't quite get that done with the Rune. So I'm curious to see if we see a pivot or if they try to double down on it here.
Yeah, based on the Awakening start of Super Surge Missile Prop, I'd be surprised to see the Rune. This seems a little bit more favored for like a speed-oriented midfield. Like Rune doesn't make great use out of those. He can use the missile prop, and it can definitely catch people off guard. It's very annoying to play against, but it's not something that you're really going to opt into. And unsurprisingly, we see that Asher ban. I think she's so strong on Taiko Temple, and the Fool has been playing that character a lot recently to a lot of success. And then the Zentaro ban for Polar Cortex. Don't want to give Twisty, her most played character. Easy Atlas lock-in, missile prop start, really, really strong for him on the first pick. But yeah, what you were saying about the Rune, I do think that there was some, defensive misgivings and some timing mix-ups that they weren't super comfortable with. I'll attribute that a bit to making some mistakes, as well as the Castellas throwing off Named Chaotic's timing. I know early in that game, we saw the timing was actually really solid. They got a KO, I think, with the Centauro dash off of the Rune, Pillar out of the Banish, without the Castellas timing, kind of messing them up. But, like I said, it's not a great pick here. I'd be really surprised to see them pick it. You can make it work, especially if you win that first set. You get something really strong to go scaling. But, yeah, not too surprised to see Julie Dubu picked up for the side of Polar Cortex. Dubu, the other really strong abuser of missile prop from the goalie position as a melee goalie, so his walls are going to be super useful on offense. Arguably more so than the Mako speed was last game, just because Luke was able to deal with the Mako speed so well, and the Octavia was able to keep pace. Octavia looks great here and is picked. Another Dash Awakening start for her. So, gonna have a lot of speed. We're gonna be looking for these Julie Dash Punch KOs, as well as like kill confirms on the Octavia. And then now, yeah, I think that's probably the most reasonable pick here. Able to use the Super Surge, keep that Juliet. The big thing with Mao is that her speed is not just for herself, like a Kai. So she's able to keep Juliet up to pace as well as herself against the Octavia and the Rasmus, who are going to be otherwise running circles around here. So, if A had picked the Kai here, this Juliet just might not be able to keep pace with that forward duo from the side of Rose Petals. So they're now really, really useful for that. Also, more creations. We've got double creations for the Dubu and the Now to try and get through the Atlas, keep possession. And with regards to how this map is going to be played differently than Atlas Lab, this map is so much less open. We might see the Rasmus struggle a little bit, whereas the Octavia might thrive a little more because she's going to be able to play through that corner that she loves so much. So it really comes down to how much this Octavia is going to be able to keep possession and how well this Juliet is going to be able to find those KOs and convert in the corner.
Yeah, that is going to be what we're on the lookout for here. So expecting some surges coming out on some of those speed-focused characters, but we'll see what the missile prop can get done. On picks like the Dubu, we are happy to see back out and over here, but it does feel like it's definitely going to be substantially on the Juliet here to try to find some of these edge-focused KOs, try to punish some of the more vulnerable picks like the Octavia where those opportunities exist, while supported up by the Now. So see if they can rack up those KOs up against a team that looks like they're going to be trying to speed blitz a little bit more here on the side of the Rose Petals. Let's see what they can do as we kick off game number 2 on Taiko Temple.
Yeah, something interesting for Named Chaotic here is Named Chaotic did opt into the Super Surge. I know some Juliets actually would take the missile prop there because they just dislike the Dash Awakening so much. But Named Chaotic comfortable with the Shaolin kick, and I think that's the right choice on Taiko Temple. When you're going to be in these really, really long corners a lot, and the dash going all the way from the bumper onto the enemy barrier is just a super valuable source of long-range hit stun. And also the Super Surge assisting in those Dash Punch KOs just a little bit. So, going to be interesting to see. But yeah, like right there, Named Chaotic trying to go for a dash play with the Super Surge. And we're going to be seeing a lot of those this game.
Oh, yeah.
The other main thing we're going to be looking for is this Dubu to hit level 2 like he does right there to place the wall and take the barrier right as I'm saying it. Thank you, the Fool. That was super validating.
Yeah, very good play there on the Dubu. Oh, misses the Summer Assault, though, as a KO is found by Chaotic on the other side. So, boons to both teams. Let's see if Chaotic's going to be able to find the point. Perfect punch there. Ricochets it off the bottom, takes the shot, and named Chaotic on the board first.
Yeah, and that was pretty much exactly what we're going to be looking for is either Named Chaotic dashing it through that longer corner on the second barrier, or the Dubu finding a way to walk up on the shorter corner, like the face of the barrier, so what would be the bottom side of the map in this play. If the Dubu can drop a wall down there, it's oftentimes going to be checkmate for the side of the Rose Petals, so we're going to hopefully see the ball rotating down there a lot as Chaotic finds flip in front of the barrier and punishes Luke for the early flip. Great play from them, and things are kind of all coming up POLR at the start of this game.
Yeah, really nicely done by POLR to start things off here. Really early on using the extra dash range on this Juliet to be able to keep up with the mobility offered by Kai and Twisty, and pretty good while they do it here. Been able to back them up very effectively so far. Chaotic going to get fended away by a beat drop this time around, and they're just trying to manufacture themselves anything on offense for the Rose Petals here in this game at number 2, as it's been tough for them so far. Another double hit stun coming on through there off a big dash. Not going to be able to take the core with them this time as Kai tries to guide it over towards the bottom, trying to send that core through while they still have access to the flip to be able to convert into the full goal. Twisty nearly punched off the top there, but does manage to keep standing as she tries to reset and get back in on towards that barrier. Flip comes out of Kai, takes the barrier, an opportunity available now for POLR Coretex as they try to take the shot over on the left side. Fool going to be able to keep up the defense. Twisty, though, now in a position to set up for the Rose Petals, and Kai splits the uprights. A and Fool cannot get in there, and they do let it through.
That was a really good shot by Striker Kai, just barely getting it around the Dorito from the now. Really, really well played there. But yeah, the drums are going to be inciting a lot of chaos for this Dubu. You know, as we saw, core speed got him twice there to lose the point. So that's going to be something to look out for. These melee goalies can be punished by the acceleration of the ball on this map. That chaos is something that melee goalies don't necessarily thrive in as much. And there comes the super surge for Chaotic. Great play to take that second barrier. That's exactly what they're going to be looking for all game when they opt into that awakening. And unfortunately, their flip isn't able to find anything, but that was a great example of just the kind of value that the super surge can get at range against this Atlas.
Absolutely, and really doing a good job of being able to find unexpected angles in towards Luke using those tools. Done a good job on the barriers. Let's see if they can take it all the way for the goal. Nice job avoiding that strike shot there from the core on Twisty's side, trying to push it on through and doing a good job of being able to stop any attempted disruptions towards the play. We're just trying to predict an extra shot coming through there, and they hold on to the strike for now. Twisty now in control. Kai can't quite get there in time. Astral Projection doesn't connect out of the core. They will be able to hold on for now. Flip comes out of Twisty, fended away by A and the Fool, and they will be able to keep their barrier standing. There's going to be the Tofu Fortress. Still can't quite hold on to things, and we'll be able to get that core fended back away. Another pendulum swing attempt, but the Dubu is just ironclad, will not let anything through. Finally, Kai going to be able to get a bounce off the wall there to be able to open up the goal, and now Twisty going to look to finish things off. Nice pendulum swing, stuns up the Dubu, takes the core in, and it's a 2-1 lead for Rose.
Yeah, the missile prop came up huge for Luke there on that strike shot. The strike shot went just a little bit further than Chaotic expected to because of that missile prop, and ball was able to get around him and onto the drum, setting Twisty up for a beautiful pendulum swing to take the goal. And we saw the second barrier go down for the Fool the exact same way as it did the last point. So that's 2 points in a row that barrier gets around by a Striker Kai, flip up on that top wall and into that deep corner. That's something that the Fool is going to need to be able to either adjust to or, prepare for a little bit better defensively in order to make sure it doesn't happen again. Because as long as those flips aren't taking the barrier in that manner, they've been absolutely an unstoppable defensive presence for the side of POLR Coretex.
Yeah, definitely something to clean up. If you're looking to be able to hold on just a little bit longer, coming on deeper into this game number 2. And that's what POLR Coretex are going to need. It's win or die here, as they are already down 0-1 in the set. Nice flip out of A. Going to be able to take that second barrier. Chaotic holding on to it now. All three fall back on defense, but Chaotic finds their way through anyway. Twisty cannot block that shot. It's 2-2.
That was such good discipline from Name Chaotic there, recognizing that the flip was completely a bust, and I think a lot of people, especially in kind of a high-stakes situation like this, would have shot it forward, kind of taking the gamble that your opponents are going to make some sort of mistake, but Name Chaotic, very disciplined, decided to opt into the much more disciplined, patient strike of setting it up for the dribble to maintain possession as long as possible, and is rewarded with a favorable strike war against Twisty on the bottom half, able to put it in. Really, really, really well played, and if they can keep that up, I think they're going to be able to take this game.
I think they have a really good chance of it here. Trying to take these drums on forward. Twisty going to flip it right into Fool's face. Will be able to take the second barrier from that. And with the goal opened up, the Dubu not quite as threatening as they have been. Can Kai take it on through? Bounces it off the bottom. Drops the beat and can't quite push it through. Fended away by Chaotic this time around. Trying to sneak it past. A there on assist as well. Lifeline doing its job, keeping everybody healthy and keeping A in the play. Now going to be flipped back by Fool, just slowing things down, resetting their offense, getting it back into Chaotic's hands. A comes through with the extra shot on the barrier to open up the goal for the side of POLR Coretex as they look to win their first set in a while. Chaotic with a chance here, but the Expanse going to block them right off the bat. Still, Flame Flurry off the bottom. Astral projected back away. Kai drops the beat, pushes it back forward, taces it over to I. And A is able to push it back away. Twisty holding on onto the bottom, waiting for the pass to come on over towards him. Fool going to be able to get it back up. Chaotic with a shot off the back. Can't quite take it through. And Kai pushing for a little bit more while in the flow state. Luke keeping it up towards the top side. Twisty with a chance. Pendulum swing to themselves. Can't quite get it through, and she's going to fall back, but it's too late. Name Chaotic finds the dash punch and takes the set for POLR Coretex.
Yeah, I wonder if it was the Super Surge, like 30% increased damage there that sent the core so quickly. Now losing out on Monumentalist because I think you just have to take the Castellas. No, takes the Among Titans, opts into doing what they couldn't last game. Finding that size maybe is going to be really valuable for this Dubu, for this Juliet in this matchup, and Monumentalist taken for the Dubu, make that wall a little bit more potent and size all around for the Brawlers. But I think this Atlas hotshot is just going to be such a big deal. And that was just an absolute robbery by the Rose Petals. I think that draft went so perfectly for them. And we already see that Atlas hotshot paying dividends. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see this Castellas Octavia pay dividends as well shortly. And it's going to be a little bit of a mountain to climb for POLR Coretex now.
Yeah, eyes on Striker Kai now. I mean, you've got the promised land here. You found yourself that Castellas. Now let's see what you're going to be able to do with it. Was able to find a win last game even without it. Now has the tool available. Going to let that flow state expire this time, but going to be plenty more opportunities where that came from. Twisty trying to guide it in towards the bottom barrier here up against Fool, and there's going to be the beat drop coming on across. They do manage to find that barrier. Kai has access to the flip, takes it forward. Summer Assault going to block it back away. A and Chaotic guiding it through the bottom. 2 versus 1 on Kai, who cannot keep it going. Twisty, a little bit of a disaster up against the drums there. Bounces unexpectedly. Luke can't catch up to it, and they lose a barrier for it, but will they be able to recollect themselves and get it in towards the goal? Chaotic now with a chance, has access to the flip, punches back away Luke, but can't quite get the core. And now Kai back in the flow state can take it back up towards the top. A blocking up against them. Twisty with a nice whiplash. Kai drops the beat drop, but still cannot find a good shooting angle. A good positioning here. Fool waiting in the center, but finally the angle is found. It's that hot shot from Luke once again, rocketing the core through in between the 2 defenders.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. I think that draft was a bit of a disaster that doesn't go in. I mean, that doesn't go in if A is 30% larger, they could strike it, and that doesn't go in if that ball isn't moving, 32.5% or 13% faster.
Quick math.
It's just it's so much kind of went wrong for them there, and we can kind of see that paying off as that goal goes in. But that being said, they're proving me wrong. They had a really, really good offense here, and they're able to hold it down against Twisty's flip in front of the double barrier there. So, we'll see if POLR Coretex can execute, but I do still think it's really, really difficult for them.
Yeah, Kai and Twisty are all over them inside this goal, but they only come up with one barrier for it. Fool and A doing a good job. They got plenty of creations getting in the way of the core and saving that last barrier, but a nice pendulum swing from Twisty finds its mark yet again, and the shot up towards the top. Fool barely able to get back to save it in time, and they do manage to clear it back out, but there is no offense yet available here for the side of Polar Coretex. Named Chaotic waiting on the opposite side, goes in for the Shaolin kick, can't quite find it. Now getting another opportunity, punches it off the bottom, going in for the flurry, but the bounce off the drum sends it all the way across the map, back into their own goal. Luke gets the credit, but oh man, that was all in on the drum.
Yeah, I've seen some people really complain about this map in terms of its competitive integrity, and if anyone wants to clip that, that is a great argument against this map there. That might be the single worst and most unfortunate drum bounce I think I've ever seen. That was so unlucky. Yeah,
Tragedy.
but yeah, tragedy is a great way to put it, Gordo. But you know, that being said, Named Chaotic abuses the drum of their own. The core speed generated by the drum, able to get it around Luke, and you know, if this Octavia wasn't flowing and going so hard right now, I'd say that this looks really good for Polar Coretex, but they're able to walk the ball in and, you know, threaten this barrier here as Twisty finally able to get it through. And yeah, it's kind of it's still really hard for the side of Polar Coretex. You know, they have core speed going against them, they have movement speed going against them, and without some hero plays either from Named Chaotic in the open net or A's flip coming up here, it's just such a difficult game to win at this point, even though we're so early on.
Oh, nicely done with the pendulum swing from Twisty. She takes that point pretty much single-handedly there, while causing some distraction on the other side is the Octavia, and Twisty ends up coming up with it 3-0 in that set for the Rose Petals as they tie things up.
Yeah, I really want Luke to take rapid fire. I don't think he will necessarily, but I think it's so strong for him here with the hot shot and with the missile prop, just sending out even more primaries. That being said, the Huss hat goes over to now, but peak performance goes over to this Octavia, and this Octavia's build is just unfathomable. I would hate to be on the opposite side from them here, and you know, prime time for the Dubu is nice. That's going to help them defensively, and the glass cannon from Twisty is not great. And I think your one win condition at this point is lose this set, which you will most likely do, and then
yeah, you don't have a choice there.
Yeah, and then get the power spark for Named Chaotic, and then hope this Juliet just completely frags out. You know, they do there with the double barrier. You know, crazy bounces going the way of Polar Coretex this time, but great KO, and the primary from Striker Kai sent it back down into Named Chaotic, who's able to strike it in. And yeah, we're gonna need hero plays from this Juliet for Polar Coretex to win this game. We need to find KOs on Luke, we need to find KOs on Striker Kai, and we need to find great Shaolin kicks to take those second barriers.
Yeah, good start there, breaks the streak. You know, that was a 3-0 set number 2, so definitely good little morale boost coming on through for Polar Coretex, but see if they're going to be able to keep those kinds of performances up, as this is another really textbook setup here from Kai and Twisty, doing a really good job of just positioning the core for these pendulum swings, getting the hit stun, getting the hit on the core in the same breath, and finding their way on through. The drums do their work again. That's a nice KO coming on through for the Rose Petals. Big Soup will buy them a little bit of additional time, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to save this point during the power play. 1 second to go on the now respawn. Kai looking to take the shot. Can't quite find their way through. Twisty stepping up with the whiplash, though, will be enough to take it through. Fool can't defend, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, really good conversion by Twisty there. Sometimes it's a little bit of 50-50 against goalies. If you go too deep into the corner to punish their corner clear, they'll just clear it around you, but the Fool goes into the corner. Twisty has the right read and is able to send it back before the Fool can respond. And you know, we've got almost 3 flips for the side of Rose Petals here, and we've got no flip anymore for the side of Polar Coretex. So things are just looking really rough, despite the fact that the net is open for the side of Rose Petals here.
Yeah, really slow approach here from Kai, even in the power play. So the respawn will come on through, but not wanting to take any chances until Twisty can get into position. There's going to be the Summer Assault from Fool, trying to reset everything. Twisty going to be able to flip it back away and send it back into the barrier. Another flip comes through, this time to immune the rollout. Now here's an attempt from A. What a shot there! Twisty can't save it with the whiplash, and it gets into the corner. It's 2-1. Polar Coretex with the lead in set number 3.
Yeah, I guess, really nice shot by A. Kind of predicted that Twisty would lose her mind there. So
I think she's trying to throw it away, but yeah.
Yeah. The secondary on the whiplash just had, a slight delay that I think Twisty wasn't, able to perfectly account for. And, we see Name Chaotic staggered once again, but the orb heals them right back up. And I said that this set was unwinnable for Polar Coretex, but those hero plays are coming out for Name Chaotic here once again. Might be able to put it in. Luke Force flip it doesn't even take a flip of their own. Complete read that Luke would clear down there. It was looking like a pretty free clear up. But, maybe if I do the reverse, then Name Chaotic can do the reverse, and both sides kind of lost their mind, but that's a huge win for the side of Polar Coretex. No spark of power. They could take the heavy impact if they are looking for those KOs. Decides to deny the size from the Rasmus. Pretty smart play there. The Rasmus does get the stacks and stacks. Pretty big deal. Twin Drive denied. At least we're able to take that away from the Octavia and the Atlas. And Prime Time would be really good for the Atlas. Picked up there. And Timeless Creator, good for the Dubu. These soups are going to be huge, Gordo.
They're going to be big soups, for sure. And bigger than ever. And so, we'll see how long...
Bigger than ever.
And how much of a difference can the Fool use to... or have them make? We'll find out here, but there's going to be the knockback away, and a second life being shown here by Polar Coretex, even though we had some doubts after that first draft. They're really being able to make this offense work for them with Name Chaotic's Julie doing a great job of just clearing the way and taking the barriers and now looking for the score. Another big dash punch could make a big difference here, but will not be able to find its way out of the core this time. And Luke with that hot shot to be able to assist the rest of the team. A nice death touch from Twisty. Tries to take it into the barrier, still getting fended away by the Fool, but finally on the third round of the Strike War will be one out by Twisty to take that barrier. Open goals now on both sides. Rollout is massive and just blocking off a whole lane of approach from the side of the Rose Petals. The flip comes in, and attempted timing on the pendulum swing will be waited out, but they can't find a shot in onto the goal. We get into overtime. Name Chaotic taking it towards the top. A big punch will not send it in. Another flip from A, taking it to the bottom. Rollout's not enough. Twisty waiting to be able to send it back through. Flips it back into Fool, who fends it away with a flip of their own. And they will be able to keep it standing for now. Trying to avoid getting it back into Chaotic's hands. They know how dangerous the dash punch can be. The rollout sets it up. Twisty trying to push it past Fool, just hanging onto the core for now, waiting for Kai to get into position, but that allows the rest of Polar Coretex to fall back as well. Neither side wanting to give up an inch in this set number 4. Definitely going to mean a lot for the momentum of the remainder of game number 2. Twisty trying to set it back up, gets it into the bottom. Nobody in position to save. And Twisty will score for the Rose Petals.
Yeah, things kind of fell apart there at the end for the Fool. Misses the strike shot and it doesn't expect the dribble out of Twisty on the top there. Really well played by Twisty to bait the Fool kind of onto the top side and then, use that space generated to go and shoot it bottom side. And yeah, I think a big thing we're noticing this game, or at least that I'm noticing, is that every time Name Chaotic gets the ball or the ball gets anywhere near them, this Atlas primary with Missile Prop is just completely denying any offensive opportunities they're trying to generate, whereas this Dubu doesn't have, an analogous way of denying control of the ball. So every time Twisty's getting the ball, they're actually able to hold possession of it, whereas every time Name Chaotic is getting it, they're, not by their own choice, they're losing possession of it.
Wow, that is some massive soup right there. Just really stopping them from being able to proceed in these sorts of positions. Double flip comes through. Kai and Luke both know what that dash punch means, and neither one has any interest in letting Name Chaotic proceed. It will get on through here. Twisty waiting on the opposite side, taking a little bit of damage from the Fools. Dubu Kai pushes it through. Twisty with a chance to be able to take the score here, but cannot get the shooting angle. Drums bouncing back and forth. A power play now for Polar Coretex. They managed to get the Rasmus off the map. Twisty not able to help out. Can Kai and Luke hold on for 3 more seconds? A with one more shooting opportunity, won't be able to make anything of it. Twisty here is back now, takes it with the pendulum swing, taking it single-handedly up towards the top, one-on-one with Fool, until A is able to come back and help on out.
Oh!
Nice use of the dash punch there, but fended away with a really well-placed strike shot from Luke that disrupts the attempt. Now sent back up towards the top. Twisty looking for the pendulum swing, can't quite find it. A clears it back up towards the top. Twisty is waiting for it though, and Twisty takes the shot. 2-0 for Rose Petals.
Wow. I mean, somebody give Luke a gold medal for that one. That was an amazing strike shot. I mean, that was an amazing dash punch, but an even better strike shot. And, you know, I bet A wishes that he was 30% larger. I don't know, you know, what happened there for him to be so small, but barely misses the strike as the ball goes past him. And that play by Luke, I think, is such a, you know, momentum swing for the side of Rose Petal. That has to give you so much confidence in your goalie, you know, to hold it down in the back. But we've got flips for the side of Polar Coretex that can bring this set. You know, there goes the first one, trading barriers. And if A can use it well to get the second barrier, or at least use it to get possession, maybe get the second barrier so close, you know, we could get something going. The Shaolin kick finds it, and things could turn back around for Polar Coretex.
Definitely could. Bouncing it off the drums here, taking it up towards the top. Twisty is waiting on the top side, gets in with the flip. She's trying to take it into the barrier, will be able to do so. Pass down to her. Pendulum swing, can't quite send it home, but Rose Petals are on the verge of being able to take themselves to set number 5 and to a potential win. Kai not quite going to be able to retrieve it here, though. Chaotic takes the shot towards the bottom. Nearly finds its way in, but Luke is able to hold on using that flip. Now trying to guide it towards the bottom. Twisty with the KO off the pendulum swing. Really well placed there as Luke sends it back on up. The Soup going to stop that entire top avenue from being available. And A clears it out yet again. Kai now waiting with the flow state. Manages to navigate it around the rollout. It will connect on the other side anyway, and they cannot get to it up in the top corner. A perfect shot from Chaotic cannot be stopped by Luke. A pushes it in.
Yeah, A just really well placed mine there underneath Chaotic. No one was expecting the Julie to be able to hit it from so far away, because it was actually the Now that was hitting it, even though they were on the other side of the map. Really well played, and, you know, like I said, things could turn back around for Polar. I think they've been playing so well this game. Their offense has been a lot better than last game, you know, in part due to this Juliet, who's just able to shove it through the Atlas a little bit better than the Centauro was able to last game. And it also feels like the energy economy is so good as the double barrier comes out by Twisty. Big play, hoping to win the set here for the Rose Petals. You know, energy economy or not, we'll see how things play out, but this is a big opportunity for the Rose Petals.
Oh, nearly getting that barrier there, but Luke able to keep it on a knife's edge. Striker Kai coming in from the top side, and Twisty pushing in from the bottom. Chaotic going to be able to clear it on out. Goes in with a big dash. There's going to be Kai taking a shot off the flip.
Oh.
And Twisty waiting on the bottom with the whiplash. Sends it in. It takes us to set number 5. Rose Petals still with the chance to take the win. Polar Coretex still with the chance to take it to 5 or 3.
Yeah, the glass cannon plus stacks on stacks makes that clear for the Fool. Not safe. No matter where this Rasmus is, they are able to run forward at, you know, a blazing pace to get it through. And perfect form, denied from the Atlas. Once again, extra special comes out, you know, denying the Dubu, but not super useful for the Atlas this game. Specialized training comes out for the Dubu. KOing this Octavia or this Rasmus is a really useful win condition for the side of Polar Coretex, and I'm not super surprised to see you go for that, even though I think it's a little silly. But when you have Monumentalists and you have specialized training, these Dubu Wolves are going to be killing people in the corner.
Now Luke gonna have to be fast on the fingers with the Celestial Intervention there to try to save any of those that end up coming on through. Is a tool that they have at their disposal. And look at the aggression from the Tofu Fortress. Fool throws it down on the bottom, and they are easily able to take the first barrier. The second one picked up by Chaotic, and now Twisty and Kai, they got to make their own offense work here. They got to get things running. They do take the first of the barriers, but A is going to be able to sneak it past Kai. They do not want to risk losing a strike war and potentially giving up an easy goal here. Fool using the strike shot, defended up off the top. Kai coming in from the top side in their own right. Try to push it in on towards the barrier. Chaotic, though, doing a really good job in these strike wars, not letting anything past and threatening with the flurry as well, preventing Kai from really being able to get involved, and they drop the flow state there. As a result, just not able to touch anything for the longest time. Double flip, everything connecting onto Chaotic, but they do not care. They step up and take the goal anyway, 1 versus 3.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Twisty flipped in the corner there. I think they wanted to kill Name Chaotic, which is pretty understandable considering, you know, what happened after Name Chaotic survived there. But it was like I was saying earlier, it feels like this energy economy for the side of Polar Coretex, for some reason, is just so much, you know, stronger than the energy economy for Rose Petals. It feels like they have, you know, 3 flips up almost every point. Just the amount of hits that the Julie and the Now are out here dealing is giving them that incremental energy advantage that is coming up so big in these super long points where flips become more and more critical. And, you know, we saw how much they paid off last point. So, you know, we're going to see if that's going to be able to keep up, or if the Octavia is finally going to be able to get going, because despite having such a strong build, she's actually been a bit invisible this game. I feel like it's been more Twisty's game than it has been this Octavia's.
And the Fools clutching up so much in this last set here, just not letting anything through, I say, as they give up a barrier, but they've done such a good job of being able to continuously redirect the core around the barriers and away from Twisty and Kai. I mean, that was like a 30-second period with the core over on the right side, but the only one touching it from Rose Petals is Luke, throwing out astral projections to just try to keep it offensive. And now a really good defense coming through from Luke there. Finally, they're able to take a second barrier up against the Fool, and a scoring opportunity does open up for the Rose Petals. They will not go quietly in this game number 2. They do not want to have to play a third. They want to keep themselves moving in this lower bracket. They want to send Polar Coretex home, but there's 3 more goals left to take to be able to do so. All-out aggression on the top side from Chaotic and A. Twisty aims with the pendulum swing, takes the flip, takes the shot to the bottom corner, and it's a best of 3 from here on out in game number 2.
Yeah, great patience out of Twisty there. You know, waited to see if Fool would go for the insta flip, and Fool took the bait. But this is what it's like playing against Rose Petals, is sometimes you just get absolute Luke defensive master classes as they own barrier and instantly lose their second barrier. But sometimes you get these defensive master classes out of Luke where even though the ball is, you know, pixels away from taking your barrier over and over, it just doesn't quite hit it. And, you know, that's what happened last point, but this point is a completely different story.
Yeah, there's the caster curse is really coming through strong here. Every time we compliment a goalie, it just immediately all goes wrong here. But there's a KO on a full energy Now that opens up for a power play from the Rose Petals to potentially be able to go to series point here up against Polar Coretex if they are able to get into the goal. But easier said than done. The respawn's already come on through. There's still a barrier standing. They weren't able to produce much offensively off the back of that last KO. Twisty now waiting for it, has the energy burst, does get res just in time. Luke bailing out a teammate there as the Fool nearly used that empowered soup to claim a life and get a power play for the squad. Nice block there from the Cosmic Expanse. Twisty now with the core in her hands, trying to take it up against the Fool. Pushed back away by the soup and cleared out yet again. His name Chaotic falls back to be able to help out with the team. The dash punch sends it on through, and A coming in from the top side to be able to come in with the assist, but Twisty pushing it in towards that barrier. Chaotic with the flame flurry sends it back through. Kai already a little lower on stagger with the flow state running, has it expire as that core is just too fast to handle. Can't get a strike off in time, but Twisty now 1 versus 2 on the bottom side, trying to take it up against the Fool, who does manage to clear it out yet again, and Chaotic is waiting at midfield to be able to push it in towards that goal. There's the double flip, but Luke saves it again.
Yeah, I mean, your energy economy doesn't matter if all 3 of your flips kind of go wide. And Twisty, great punish. It feels like Twisty's had a read on all the Fools, clears this game. And I also want to mention that the KO from the Tofu Fortress earlier being saved by the Atlas, who took the extra special. Such an interesting dynamic coming out from that draft. But no matter how well I think Name Chaotic's been playing, it doesn't matter as Twisty finds another great flip in the open net. And I just feel like every single goal of this game has been a flip. Like, these melee goalies are just playing so well and holding it down so hard that your only option is a complete checkmate. And now Rose Petals are on series point.
Completely agree here, and Rose Petals just barely finding the angle there. Twisty has done such a good job of being able to find ways to take these scores, of being able to catch rebounds off of the Fool's blocks and send it back into a corner where they cannot reach them, getting these checkmates up against Polar Coretex time and time again, and one more will be able to send them on to the lower finals.
Oh.
Kai holding on here, doesn't want to give up and keep this game going any longer than it needs to. There's a triple dash punch coming out of Chaotic, a double flame flurry out of Name Chaotic. So much damage, so much space, both barriers taken, and just a goal remains. But a KO's found here by Twisty on the opposite side. It's matched in turn by the Fool. 2-on-2 on the field, 4 seconds to go until now respawns, and Twisty trying to find an angle on towards the barrier. Can't quite find it. The respawn is here. It's a power play for Polar Coretex briefly, but Kai is back up and on the field. Kai coming in to approach from the top side. KO'd by the soup again. Chaotic now one-on-one with Luke, trying to take it in. Luke flips it back away, and Twisty's approaching from the bottom. Another astral projection to try to clear it back out to the other side, waiting on this respawn from Kai. He's here now to be able to try to make a difference. Pendulum swing knocks it back up the top, but Fool's able to block it away with a rollout as Kai is approaching from the top, coming in with more and more base drops. Finally, that barrier's taken off a ricochet from the top wall. Twisty with the death touch on a Fool opens up a striking angle, trying to push it into the goal, but Chaotic sends it back away with the flame flurry and hangs on for even longer. Polar Coretex with a chance to keep this game going just a little bit longer are trying to seize it, but they can't save it this time. A and the Fool cannot land their strikes. It's a 3-1 win for the Rose Petals.
And that Atlas primary with Hotshot comes back to bite them. You know, just as I was saying earlier in the game, you know, I really wish they had gotten a little bit more value off their flips that game. Well-deserved MVP for Luke. Completely held it down. That was some cinema right there. Do this, okay? I will be doing the cinema as requested.
Wait,
yeah, I mean,
were we on camera in time? Okay, we were.
Yes,
we were.
Yeah,
Good.
we were. I mean, that was a really well played game by Polar Coretex. You know, I do not want to downplay, despite the loss. I actually think that they had to play better than the other team to win that game, and all 6 players, I think, did such a good job to take that home. It was anyone's game at the end there. Really entertaining. Gordo, I don't know if I didn't properly warn you, but the series that I cast are all bangers. And that's what we got today. Yeah, another banger coming out. Big win for the Rose Petals, but you know, if you're Polar Coretex, you could be pretty happy with how you played today. 4th in a tournament of this caliber is, you know, really impressive. You outplaced a lot of NASA teams.
Oh,
and you know, they were going against Luke, the MVP of the North American Strikers Academy from this season. Just really strong opponent, and kind of goes to show you the difference between NAST and NASA a little bit, that the NAST winners weren't quite able to get over the hump. But yeah, that was some cinema, Gordo. That was some cinema.
Always wouldn't expect anything less here. So with that, it is going to be another match coming up here before too long. Rose will move on to the lower finals, so you're not going to go very long without seeing them face off again. They'll be coming up here in just a few short moments, Grimella.